Today we're going to be looking at Claude Code. This is an AI coding assistant made by Anthropic, the people who also make Claude. As you probably know, Claude comes in many different AI coding solutions like Cursor and Windsurf, and they actually have their own tool for coding. It's a bit different though. It's actually a CLI application. So there's no IDE where you can edit the code and navigate the file structure. It's just a terminal application. So it's a bit of a different take. I've been using it for 2 weeks now, and honestly, I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I don't mind that there's no IDE, and I'm still using Cursor at the same time. So I'm enjoying combining the two. I'm going to showcase me using it today to add a new feature to one of my applications that I've been working on. In terms of how pricing works, I'm paying $100 a month for the max plan, and basically I get unlimited Claude 3.7 from what I understand. They only have a limit on how much you can use it in an hour. If you send it way too many prompts, like over 50 to 200, it will limit you. I've not hit this bottleneck, so it hasn't been much of an issue. I even sometimes run like 2 terminal applications at the same time, because sometimes I work on 2 projects at the same time. Like I'm writing a prompt for one, and then that prompt can take 2 to 3 minutes, and then I go off and do another one for another application. This plan is better for me, because with Cursor and Windsurf, I was running out of my premium tokens quickly in the first 5 or 8 days. So for me, I'm liking this. And the AI does seem more unrestrained than like Cursor. Cursor is doing a lot of optimization, even though it is using Claude 3.7, right? They are doing some behind the scenes optimization to reduce token size and whatnot. And as well, they are obviously putting a markup on the usage of it, so they can make money from you using these models. So yeah, let's dive into using Claude Code. So first you want to be in the folder of your application, and then you're going to write Claude. So you obviously have to install this. There's instructions online. So I'll do that. And now we're within the application. So if this is like a new application that you haven't ran a Claude in first, you would do /init. And this is going to create a Claude MD file. I've already done this. So you can see here that it produces a file with kind of the architecture, how to run the application, the technologies, all these kind of information. Claude will generate this, and then you can continue to add to this as you go, or have Claude add to this to create a living document for your application, so Claude knows how everything is working. So this application is a Next.js application. Actually, there's a few Next.js applications in here, so it's more of a workspace. You can see we have this app folder, and we're going to be adding to the marketplace application. So we want to build a place where people can come and view properties that they could potentially buy. So I created this marketplace MD document with a list of requirements that we need. We already have a backend and everything. This is like a functioning application where people can list their properties. We just don't have a marketplace where people can see all those properties that are available. So I don't think we're going to connect it to the backend today, because I don't have enough data in the backend. So we're probably just going to use mock data for now, but we're going to give it this. And I wanted to build it in a way that's consistent with the rest of the application. Okay, so let's write our prompt. It's like any kind of AI solution. You write the prompt, and you can actually reference files, even though you don't have the IDE experience. You just do @ and then you can say, write the file name. So here I want to reference marketplace MD. So it's going to look in that to gather all those requirements that we have. And if we go look in that document, yeah, you can see we're just defining like the filters that we want, the key components like a search bar, autocomplete, a map view, property cards, right, to see all the properties, and then defining what each property card should have, and some design notes. So we want them to use the color and the branding of the actual application, make it mobile responsive, and we're just giving it some context here. So the marketplace should be in the marketplace app, which currently can show an individual property, but has no index page that we need to build out. So obviously, the more detailed you can give it, the better results you will give. And same with your Claude MD file. The more you document in here about your setup, the better it's going to do on the first prompt or the prompts after that. So we have our prompt. So this is cool. You can see the time it's taking and then how many tokens it's actually utilizing. In this case, it doesn't matter how many tokens it's using, because we're not paying per token. But yeah, it's going to start looking at what we already have, and you can just see it going through, analyzing all the files. I mean, it's a similar experience to Cursor, right? Not that different. You can see Cursor through the chat window coming up with all the same information. And you can hit Control R to expand it. And this is going to give you more information. So you can see like the actual individual costs of each request. Although there is a cost, like I'm not paying that because I'm on that monthly plan. So I get unlimited usage. But I guess, yeah, you can see how much each request costs. And this makes sense. Honestly, before I subscribed, I used it for 30 minutes and I accumulated like $5 in costs. So it's quite expensive without a plan. I mean, yeah, this adds up. This is 20 cents, right? Wow, it's reading still. And yeah, it's just doing a lot of searching to really understand how everything is set up. So again, if you produce documentation like in your Claude MD file or other files, that you can then reference probably in your Claude MD, then this is going to save a lot of time probably because it's not going to have to search everything to understand how everything is set up. And because of how it works, like Claude, I think has better context management. So we'll remember a lot of these details in the future. So things don't take as long, even if you don't document them. So yeah, still doing a lot of reading, hasn't started writing code at all. Okay, now you can see it has this kind of to-do list for itself. So exploring the marketplace app structure and existing components, review common components that can be reused. Now it's going to go create marketplace index page with property listing. Created its own little task list now from the requirements I gave it. Says it's going to create an API endpoint for fetching active properties. Not sure how it's going to do that. Like we already have an API, so I'm not sure what that means. But we'll see. This is one of the other things that's annoying about this is that you constantly have to tell it yes if it like wants to add a new file. Well, you can say yes and don't ask me again, but sometimes it does because it's always like running different commands to understand your code and move files and do all these kind of things. So you usually will have to respond yes. There is this settings local.json file, and you can allow a bunch of commands here. Like anytime you say yes and don't ask me again, it adds a command here. I've tried like doing a wildcard where I can just allow it to do anything, but I haven't gotten that to work. And there's not much documentation because this kind of tool is very new and it's constantly changing. So I've not found a way to actually allow it to just run any. Okay, so yeah, it seems like I went through those, wrote the code quite quick. So I created this, marketplace index file. So where the properties are, created our SAS file, adding property filter. And again, you can expand at any time to see the expanded version of what it's doing. You can see here all the code it added in this new CSS file. So, just the amount of code that these AI solutions can write is crazy. I mean, think about how long this would have taken you to write, and it's doing this in 8 minutes, It's not going to be perfect, I know that, but still. This gives you a great starting point. Okay, so yeah, to do this needs to be implemented on the back end. For now, we use get properties and filter client side. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know if we have all these filters on the back end. So it's just going to do that on the front end. And yeah, creating a hook now for use active property. So now it seems it's trying to build the application and it's running into some syntax errors. So it's trying to fix those, which is, pretty cool. But Cursor does that as well, where it will confirm that the changes it did actually compile. And then if it didn't, it just kind of enters this loop where it's like trying to fix them. So this is pretty cool. Like I was actually running the server already and now it's trying to run it, but I can't because the port is occupied. It's literally asking if it can kill the application running on that port. So I'll just say, that's just pretty neat that I can figure out how to do that. But it's been going off quite a while. There's a lot of errors, it seems, in the actual code. Now let me create a simple test to verify our implementation works by checking the generated files. Okay, I'm not sure what it's going to do there, but we can expand. Tracked and mapped is marked as coming soon with the placeholder. This can be implemented later using Google Maps or another mapping service. That's weird. It just decided not to do that, but we can do that afterwards. Another thing you usually want to do is /compact to kind of create a summary of everything you've done to shorten the kind of context window that Claude has. So just /compact. And if you don't do this, it's going to do it on its own after a while. People I've read on Reddit say it's better to do it often than have it automatically do it because the automatic version is worse. If it's true, I don't know. But just something you should be aware of. So let's go see what it produced. So we'll go run it and now check that out. Let's see if it actually even runs. So yeah, it doesn't run. We're just automatically getting this import error. So like a good vibe coder, we will just go give it there and have it fix it. Yeah, I didn't give it context and just paste it there, but it's going to fix that. Here you can see it's asking me if it can use the find command. So I'll be like, yes, you can use the find command. And then it should go in and add it to the settings. Yeah, it goes and adds it to the find. I wonder if I can do this. Wildcard bash, just run any command. I know this is dangerous, but yeah, I trust the AI too much. Okay, now there's another error. So it can't find this CSS variable that it's trying to use. So again, we'll just give it that error. But yeah, I can't say I've had success with like first prompts in Claude Code, but with any AI coding solution, no, it's never the case. I always have to work through all the errors that it generates. All right, so it's loading now. Interactive map coming soon. Error loading properties. Please try again later. So I just want to switch it to using this other endpoint. API v1 properties active. This just has all the active properties because I don't think it was using the right endpoint. This will allow anyone to call this. They don't have to be authenticated. I'm just going to have it update that instead of the temporary client-side filtering. Not sure if that's what but yeah, we can go look at the code. It's changing. Yeah, hard to see the code it added there, but okay, we can see it here. Get active there. Well, it's getting rid of all the filters, the client-side filtering, but I don't have these filters. So yeah, those filters might not work. Yeah, it has to figure out what is the return type of get active. So it's just, yeah, spending a lot of time looking through the actual code. I found the actual method, API service file. It's getting the return type. So property detail. You can see now it's updating it to the correct method, the correct parameters. It figured out that the property filters aren't supported. So we're definitely going to have to change the API, but we're not going to do that in this video. So I just wanted to use this endpoint. It's trying to find like another endpoint which would have more information. So one thing is you can stop it. You would just escape it and then you can give it more information. So I can just be like, just use get active properties and property lookup detail. For any data missing, just use mock data for now. Just gonna put a shortcut right now for this demo. Okay, so it's loading now. So this is what we have. That's weird. So it added two layouts. It's very buggy, but we have this. The interactive map isn't there. High to low, low to high. That doesn't really work. But this is a good start. One thing I love doing with AI is just saying, can you just have a mode where we use mock data and also generate a bunch of mock data for me? So like it's super simple, right? To have the AI just produce a bunch of properties for testing if the API is lacking. So that's what I'm going to do here. So we can see it visually better, like with real images and whatnot. This is one of the most powerful things of AI is like just creating like code you know you're going to throw away. Like a bunch of mock data is good for a front-end developer just to be building out their front end without having to rely on the API for actual data. So, you know, it's great to just create that very quickly. So you can see putting a switch here where I can set use mock data instead. So it's going to just use this mock data. So I'm just going to clarify here like what I want. So I want them to create like an external JSON file with all that mock data. And I want them to actually have images as well. So just going to give it that additional information. So it's finally done. It made this JSON file with all this mock property data. You can see here, it gave us like a summary of what it did. And now we can go see it. So that looks pretty good. But some obvious issues, like we have this out within a layout. It didn't implement the interactive map. So I'm just going to have it fix the actual layout issue. So I'm just going to say our marketplace has two layouts for some reason. Can you fix that? That should be quite easy. Okay, great. Yeah, it fixed that. So there's, yeah, some obvious issues that we'd have to work through and fix with the actual layout. But I just want to do one last thing, which is implement the interactive map. This is what I was able to have it build now with the interactive map. So it works quite well. There were a few bugs that I had to work through, but it's quite functional now, and I can interact with the map and click on the different groupings of properties and will expand. And then if I click on the property, it'll bring me to the property detail page. Then I can also click on the actual cards and it's going to show me where they are on the map. Some are showing up in the ocean for some reason, or the water. I'm not sure why, but yeah, just another bug to fix. But all in all, pretty impressive on the kind of first few prompts, what I was able to achieve. So that's it for today for coding. So I've been really enjoying Claude Code. I'm not sure if I would recommend using it because at $100 per month, it's quite pricey. And Cursor could be enough at, a way cheaper price. And you also get an IDE. For me, I think it makes sense based on all the different projects I work on. I work on medium-sized to small-sized projects. And I think Claude Code is better with medium to larger size projects. As well, there's less of a limit on the actual model usage. We get 3.7 kind of unlimited. That's not the case in Cursor or Windsor. They're constantly changing their pricing, so it's hard to keep up. But I think right now, like you use 3.7, that takes one message request, right? And you get like 500 a month with their kind of base plan, which is like $25 a month. So for me, it's a bit of a better value to use Claude Code. So I'm going to continue using it until my subscription is over. And then I'm going to see if I'm going to stick with it or go back to Cursor. Thanks for watching. If you like this content, please subscribe.